So non-competes and non-solicitation agreements in California. So a non-compete agreement is when you are forbidding someone that you're entering into an agreement with from engaging in a competing business to yours. Usually it's within a certain geographic location and within a certain time period. So that's what a non-compete is. A non-solicitation, well, there could be two kinds of non-solicitation. There could be a non-solicitation as it relates to your employees, maybe your vendors, and then there's a non-solicitation as it relates to your customers, which is sort of very similar to a non-compete, but not. Because in a non-compete, you can't compete. But in this one, you also can't compete and you can't solicit, because if you can't solicit, then how are you going to compete, right? So that's what a non-solicitation is. In California, they're actually illegal, but under some very narrow circumstances. So for example, if you are selling me your business, then I can make you commit to a non-compete and a non-solicitation. But if you're my employee, or if you are an employee that's leaving me and we're doing like a severance agreement, or if you're a vendor, like under all these other circumstances, non-competes and non-solicitation, they're not enforceable in California. So the way to get around that somewhat, and that's how I get around it in contract, is I put very robust confidentiality provisions in terms of intellectual property, like trade secret information, because you could consider, customer data, customer information, who your customers are, how to reach out to them. You could consider that intellectual property. You could consider that your trade secret. So if you make it clear enough to your employees that, this is proprietary and this is confidential and it's not available to the public, like you can't just Google it with the general knowledge that you have, then you could potentially prevent your maybe ex-employee from competing, not because they've signed a non-compete agreement, but because you could say that, if you go out after my customers, the only reason why you know that they exist is because you used my confidential proprietary list, and that was forbidden per our contract, and that's allowed. So that's how we try to get around the California unenforceability of non-competes and non-solicitations.